This is a Tenways CGO600 PRO electric bike, and it has totally changed my life. I've even sold my car and I've been using this for the last few months for transport, for getting around, going to the shops and the gym. And it's really changed my view of electric bikes. Even as somebody who's reasonably young and reasonably fit, this bike has reshaped my view of how these bikes can be integrated into our modern lives. So in this video, I'll share the reason why it has changed my life, go through all the features, some likes and dislikes, and of course, we'll go for a ride and see how it performs and talk about how the hub and the belt drive work, the motor responsiveness and the battery life as well. Because I'm David and you're watching Just Ride Bikes. Let's dive in. So it's a bike for urban and city riding and designed to be as simple to use as possible. And that really shows through in some of the design choices on the bike. I love the fact we have a carbon belt drive, so no oily metal chain to worry about and get on your leg and your trousers when you're riding to the office, so a really smart choice there. The motor is in the rear hub and powered by a battery in the down tube, which you can remove if you need, with a charging port just down there. And this bike came with mudguards fitted, nice aluminium sturdy mudguards. We have some really tough puncture-proof tyres, hydraulic disc brakes. The front light is built into the frame, nice flat handlebar. You can adjust the angle of the stem and therefore the height of the handlebar, have it lower or higher as you want. A nice quick release on a seat post to quickly adjust the height of the saddle so different members of the family can jump on the bike and scoot down to the shops or the swimming pool. And even a kickstand so you can lean the bike up and it doesn't fall over. That focus on simplicity extends to the fact there are no gears on this bike. It is a single speed. That means you can jump on, not worry about the gears, just choose the assist level from the motor and ride. It's as simple as that. And it also keeps the cost down and means there's no maintenance issues, no rear derailleur or expensive complex hub gear to worry about. Just a nice belt drive. These last for about 30,000 kilometers. Don't need oiling or lubing, so just get on the bike and go. So the motor is in the rear hub and provides up to 250 watts of assistance with 40 Newton meters of torque. So not the most powerful motor in the world, but more than ample for a bike like this. We have a 360 watt-hour battery in the down tube, which you can remove for charging and for carrying the bike around. And it's claimed with the motor to give up to 100 kilometers or 62 miles of range. But as with most range estimates, it depends on the riding you're doing, how heavy you are, whether you're going up and down hills, lots of headwinds to deal with. So in the real world, you probably get a bit less than that, and it depends on whether you're using the low level or high level of assist. So the motor is controlled from a small control unit on the handlebar, a nice slim ergonomic design, nice high definition screen, not touch screen, but you use buttons. Top button to power it on. This button cycles through the different modes, average speed, max, trip computer, and your range. And this button down here selects the mode. So 1, 2, 3. Those are your 3 levels of assistance. And the price for this bike is £1,799, which is definitely at the more affordable end of the e-bike market, but it stacks up really well compared to other options in the market and in the price range. So a lot of bike, a really nice design that focuses on simplicity and usability really shines through when you ride it, and a really solid price point. And it comes in 4 very nice colors. I personally think this is the best one, the one I chose from their website. And it's a really smart, good looking bike, a very modern, clean looking bike. Doesn't really scream e-bike at you, just looks like a bike for riding around and getting from A to B. It's just such a nice bike to ride. It makes riding around town and getting about from A to B just a real joy, a real pleasure. Having that assistance from the powerful hub motor makes it easier to deal with a few hills, extra weight from the shopping in your bag, or when you're dealing with headwind or your legs are just tired. With the motor off, you can pedal the bike. It's not super heavy, about 17.5 kilos on my scale, so you can pedal the bike okay, provided it's flat and there's no wind, there's no hills, but it does feel a bit sluggish. Then going up to the first assistance level really takes the weight away and it really rides very nicely indeed. Noise is acceptable, it doesn't make too much whir, and then going up through the assistance levels gives a nice seamless progression. There's no kind of jerkiness, no real jolt or power. It's nice and progressive, it just works really nicely. And the motor is super responsive, gets you up to speed from a standing start at the traffic lights super quickly. And riding in level 3 is very addictive, just makes riding fast so easy. Knock it down to level 2, that's pretty good, that's the one I use most of the time really. I'm not trying to eke out the maximum battery life. The range is pretty good on the bike. It's currently showing me 81 kilometers on level 1 with fully charged battery and down to 55 on level 3. But it's not a sort of bike you're going out and try and do a 50 or 100k ride, is it really? For short journeys, replacing a car on a short 1, 2, 3 mile journeys to the shops, to the gym, to the library, wherever it is, with your shopping in your bag like I have now. It's replacing those short journeys that the car would normally be used for. And I charge it up every time I get home, just plug it in. Very easy to do. You can remove the battery as well, but I don't need to. Keep it in the garage. And it's a really nice bike, it just rides really nicely. You can adjust the handlebar height, so I've got them quite high for just getting around town. Good visibility when I'm kind of go through traffic. The contact points feel good, nice comfy saddle, grips are nice and squidgy, big brake levers, hydraulic disc brakes give plenty of power so you can stop quickly when you need to. When you try and make the green light at the traffic lights but you don't quite make it and you have to slam on the anchors. The steering's really good, quite fast steering but not super twitchy at all, so even a non-cyclist can get on the bike and feel right at home. Comfort is mostly pretty good, but I would like a suspension stem or suspension seat post for some of the bumpier roads. But these fat tyres at low pressures, they work okay really. It's just a great bike for getting on, nipping down to the shops, going to the coffee shop. Just a bike for getting around. Wear normal clothes, leave your Lycra at home. It's a bit strange riding a bike with no gears. There is a bit of a limitation from the single speed. Occasionally, if you're on a slight rise, a slight hill, your cadence can feel quite high, but it doesn't take too long before the motor really kicks in and gets you up to speed. But in some situations, a few gears would be useful. But the riding I've mostly been using the bike on is pretty flat, kind of city urban riding with a few hills, nothing kind of super steep. But for that sort of riding, the cadence limitations of a single speed aren't really a problem. So why has this bike changed my life? Because it's made me realise I don't need a car nearly as much as I thought I did. For all the short journeys you can't take for granted, this bike is perfect for. For all the short errands you do, popping around town, going for coffee, going to the post office, you name it, this bike is just fine. Add in a nice D-lock to the budget and you're absolutely sorted. And it's definitely better than taking public transport, especially where I live. And I worked out, if you took the bus every day for 2 years, it'll work out the same cost as a bike. So 2 years to pay off this bike if you use a bus every day for 2 years. And to be honest, that's a price I'd happily pay because it saves waiting for a bus when they're delayed and cancelled and standing in the rain. Whereas on the bike, you're in control of your timetable, you can ride whenever you want, and you can exercise all the time as well, so improving your fitness. There isn't really much to fault with the bike, it has to be said, but there are a few niggles and definitely room for improvement. Personally, I'd love to see a rear light built into the frame as we have with a frontal light. This is really smart and works really well. It's a nice powerful light and it just fits in the frame really nicely. But you have to buy a rear light that clips onto a seat tube, so not quite as nicely thought out as a frontal light. So that's one niggle. And then the other one is the fact there's no suspension. And the roads where I ride are quite bumpy and there's potholes and sunken drains. And even with big tyres, that low pressure, the ride can be a bit firm and a bit jarring at times. A suspension stem would be a personal preference and definitely boost the comfort of the bike. But by far the most annoying feature, and it's one that's common to all e-bikes sold here in the UK, is a maximum speed of 15.5 miles per hour, at which the motor stops, doesn't give you any more assistance, and that is really annoying. Not all the time, but if you're going down a slightly downhill road and a bit of tailwind, you can hit that speed very easily, and it just becomes a bit hard work. The weight of the bike isn't so bad, you can't pedal beyond that speed, but with no gears you can't really go much faster, and it's a bit of a letdown really. The one thing that really holds e-bikes back from being as amazing as they could be, and it's compounded by a lack of gears on their bike a little bit, but it doesn't happen very often. 95% of the time it's just fine, but there are a few occasions when you wish you had a bit more speed or a few more gears to overcome that limitation. So living with the Tenways for the last few months and having replaced my car with this bike, it's a bike I can highly recommend if you want a nice, simple to use e-bike that you can get from A to B with no fuss and look good while doing it, and have that focus on simplicity and usability. You don't have to be a mad keen cyclist to buy a bike like this, and if you are a mad keen cyclist like me, it's a bike that fits into your lifestyle really nicely. So a bike I can highly recommend. I'm keen to do more e-bike reviews here on the channel, so let me know what other bikes I should consider by leaving a comment down below. And if you want to find out more about the bike for yourself, I'll put a link to their website down below, and if you do use that link and buy a bike, I may earn a small affiliate fee which helps support the channel. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't, if you want to see more reviews like this on a regular basis. Otherwise, I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you so much for watching.